So your most important documentation is the PPR, so the project progression record, and this will be given by your specific exam board, so in my case OCR, and it just sort of fills in details about the project so the examiner can see at a glance what you're doing and they just get a feel for it. So ideally you want this to be first thing in your project, so I did it just after I'd listed all the different things that were in the project, but you might want it like right at the top. It's got your name, your candidate number, everything, so I'm just going to show you that. So this is what the PPR looks like. Just above it'll say project progression record and your name and candidate number. Obviously I'm not going to show you that because that's my specific information, but I'll show you here. It says the other qualifications that you take, so in my case physics, maths, art and design and EPQ. You then have your rationale, so why you want to do the project, what the skills are, so all the stuff that you're planning at the beginning, just a brief little thing, what you're doing. And the important thing is don't mess up any of these boxes, don't delete anything, just fill it in exactly how it is. So you've got aims and objectives, so what skills are you aiming to develop? So again, this was in one of the first videos, just so for me that was like animating skills, editing skills, and also you can mention your research skills. Maybe you've never done a project like this before, or maybe you've never written a lot of drafts before for your dissertation. So then you also want to say how you're going to develop each of these skills. So I just numbered the skills and then I numbered the same how I'm planning on developing them. And this also doesn't have to be long, just a brief idea of what you're doing. And then you've got initial planning, so your original ideas, what resources might you need, what types of research are you going to do. So this is what I mentioned, lots of different types of research, so TED Talks, articles, all of that. And then you say, what do you need to take into account when planning? So are you going to use timelines? Maybe you're going to account for your exam time. Maybe you know you have mocks in February, so you're going to say, I'm planning less in February because I have other priorities, and that is fine to say. Or maybe you know you have a family event or you're away for a bit, and that should all be taken into account when you're planning. And then at the end, I've just got a brief little timeline. And so then in the middle of the project, you do a review. So how much progress have you made? Does it fit with your timelines, or do you need to make a new one? That sort of thing. And then how has your project changed or evolved? What path has it taken? It's fine if it changes slightly, just make sure you've also changed your timeline to fit with that. And then what are your strengths and weaknesses so far? So I've said here my skill improvement, my planning's improved, and I've learned how to evaluate sources, and I've started logging my research. And then maybe my weaknesses is I've not added my supporting photos and I haven't regularly updated my diary. So I said I would schedule an allotted time each week where I was going to focus on my EPQ diary. And then I put at the end what I still need to do. So I said how many scenes I had left to animate and what editing I needed to do. I then have responses to one-to-one meetings with your EPQ tutor. So as I said, they can't specifically write things down, but if you request a one-to-one with them and just to look through your project, they might say, oh, could you add some photos here, or could you add a bit more research here? And this is really useful, so make sure you do it throughout your project. And then at the end of the project, you want to have a survey, just saying like what people think of your overall presentation, what they like about it. So this is the video I talked about last video. So this explains absolutely everything in your project. So this is what you show people when reviewing, because your EPQ file may be over 100 pages. I mean, ideally, they recommend over 90 pages. Mine is 120, and your friends aren't going to want to read all of that, but they might be okay with watching a 5-minute video. So that's what I would recommend doing. And then they evaluated my overall presentation, the delivery, the images, information given, overall look, and how clear it was, and then I said what were the best and worst parts, and that way I could see how I could improve for the next time I re-recorded this. And then I've got an evaluation of the entire project, so that's just for me, and so a few paragraphs, it doesn't have to be too long again, and then you want to say where is everything evidence, so where in this PDF have you put all your projects, like where have you managed your time? So that might be in your diary, that might be in your timeline, and your wide ranges of research and resources, so that will be your research, your source trackers, your bibliography, all of that. So it's very important you fill this out, because otherwise the markers are going to have no idea where all your stuff is, and they're not going to be able to give you a good grade. So as I said, when I linked everything at the start of my PDF, that also helps them know where your stuff is, and it just makes it easier. And then here you need a 1,500 word commentary. So this is just saying how you improved along the way, how you planned everything, what went well, what didn't, how you resolved issues. So this is basically just summarizing your entire project, and don't forget anything in this. Like, you want your intentions of the project, your skills gained, and then here I've said the project helped me improve and enhance skills I needed in all aspects of animation process, and it helped me learn about bigger projects. And then I've mentioned how long it took me to take and how that helped improve my patience. And then I've got specific examples. And then I've said here I encountered various issues which I had to resolve. And then I've said how I logged them in my diary. And so one of my issues was I couldn't make a music video because of copyrighted music. So I decided to animate a fairy tale instead, as they're in the public domain. So all of this is really, really important. And then at the bottom you say the date of submission and your signature.